First and foremost, I would like to thank all the fans for coming out and supporting us today. Starting with a dog walk coming off the buses, it was kind of a surreal feeling, and everything that was cracked up to be. Fans stayed through the entire game. The cowbells, same thing. It was awesome to hear. Sweet, sweet music. So certainly excited for our fans and everything they did to support us. Great to get our first win, get off on the right foot. I thought we did some very, very good things, offense, defense, and special teams. But certainly a lot to clean up moving forward, against a quality opponent like Kansas State on the road. So pleased but not satisfied, excited about some individual and collective performances. Very proud of our team, very proud of our coaching staff. It's a great way to start the season. Any questions?
Questions, we'll get a mic to you, Brett.
Hey, really spread the wealth with the wide receiver group today. A lot of guys rotated through. A lot of guys got targets and catches. What do you kind of take away from that group out of tonight?
That group, I was pleased. Coach Getsy does a fantastic job with them. His level of expertise, as a college player, pro player, and coming from the Green Bay Packers to teach those guys fundamentals and techniques and scheme, it was imperative to our success. And certainly the lingering question entering the season, concerning our wide receiver group and were they capable of making not just plays but explosive plays. I hope we were able to answer that a little bit today. And certainly it wasn't just one guy. Like you said, we spread the ball around pretty well, and great to see those guys take a positive step forward in the first game.
Joe, 17 tackles for a loss, I think. Did the front seven play the way that you expected them tonight? I mean, was that what you were expecting?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being primarily involved with the offense and having to go against our front seven all of spring ball and all of fall camp, I mean, it's they're an impressive group. And Coach Baker, Coach Lukaboo, obviously the scheme with Coach Shoup, does a fantastic job. But I think the most impressive thing outside of Montez, Jeffrey, Braxton, Gary, is Coach Baker's rolling 2.5, 3 deep in there sometimes. So it's able to keep those guys fresh. And the better we're able to stop the run and put pressure on the passer, it helps us on the back end as well. So pleased with those guys.
Hey, Coach, obviously this is ready.
Oh, yeah, hi, Todd.
Obviously this isn't a huge issue because Keaton's not starting the rest of the way, but how much of an emphasis in the quarterback room is the completion percentage going to be? Because I don't think he completed 50% of his passes.
Yeah, it was 13 to 31. Yeah, I'm an English guy. That's not 50, is it? Okay, but yeah, I mean that's certainly something that we're working on. 65% is our benchmark. You'll probably give a little bit of latitude with the 364 yards on 13 completions and 5 touchdowns. But certainly for us to operate at the level that we need to throughout the season against the type of schedule we're going to play, our completion percentage and yards per completion and all those things needs to improve. But yeah, that's something that we definitely are going to address.
Obviously, Coach, that would be one of the things, the answer to one of my questions here. But if you had to nitpick after a night like tonight, what are maybe a couple things that you really honing in on ahead of the Kansas State game?
Without seeing the tape, kind of just off the cuff, offensively, just the base operation, the speed which we're getting to the line and when we're checking plays, making sure, that we have the right call and, we're communicating well. I think across the board communication is probably a big thing. Offense, defense, special teams, just a substitution part of it. And then just overall playing a cleaner game with more precision, eliminating some of the penalties, eliminating some of the substitution issues, and, in a margin of error league, some of those little things. There's an old saying, what you wouldn't accept in defeat, you can't accept in victory. So, that's the thing as we look at the film, we got to be very critical. We can't be ostriches and stick our head in the sand and because, we won by a significant amount, act like the problems don't exist, but that's something that we'll go through tomorrow morning with a fine-tooth comb and, address it with the kids and improve moving forward.
I know every coach wants to start a game quickly, but the first offensive play to go 53 yards for a touchdown, that must have been like, wow, that was easy. I mean, what was that like from your perspective?
That was pretty cool. Certainly wasn't. They were in a zero blitz, so they brought the house on the first play, and that's kind of something that we talked about earlier in the week. In games like this, having been on the other side, I think I used the term tee it high and let it fly. So they brought the whole house at us and, got it swung out there to Kylan, got some great blocks on the perimeter, and certainly didn't expect it to spring for 53. But, we'll take it.
Hey, Joe, got a
Hello.
chance to play almost all your true freshmen, and obviously that new redshirt rule is a game changer for those guys.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of them are wide-eyed, and you probably can't tell a lot from what they did late in the ball game. But how do you feel like some of those guys were able to handle?
No, I think it was good. We got them in for a series 2 there at the end, and kind of the way we put the plan together regarding the red shirt with the 4 games. This is one game that we earmarked where all the true freshmen will be green lights, and we'll be able to play them if the situation dictated and warranted, and it did. So I think it was a great opportunity to get their feet wet. They'll look at the film, and now moving forward, some may continue to play, and some may redshirt, but the ones that do play, they've gained some pretty valuable experience.
Hey, Joe, going back to the wide receivers, none of them caught more than 2 passes.
Really?
Do you expect that trend to continue, or do you think there will be games where, any given guy will get, upward of 10?
Yeah, I think we rotated a bunch of guys through. I think that's, one reason why it was spread out in the manner that it was tonight. But a lot of it, is really dictated not only by who's in the game, but the coverage that's being played and how the defensive coordinator is trying to defend us. So there may be a game where, our quarterback makes post-snap coverage reads. So, based on what the coverage is, that's where he goes with the ball. So it's hard to dictate where you really can't force feed somebody necessarily. But I think this was probably a pretty good cross section. There may be, I've had guys catch as many as 14 in a game. So it really just depends on the night and the defense that we're seeing.
Kylan really responded to getting the start, ran hard, obviously had the catch. Was a well-rounded performance like that the reason why he was the first one on the field tonight?
Yeah, I mean, like all guys, there was a competition with a new staff. You're kind of a blank slate and give guys an opportunity to start fresh and, compete on and off the field, accountability, the things they do in the weight room, the things they do in the classroom, and certainly on the field. And, we're very fortunate to have guys like Kyle and Aries, and you watch the guys that went in behind them, and they performed as well too. So, like I said before, I've had guys that have gotten 300 carries a season. You go back to UConn, my first year there, we had 2 guys both get 1,000 yards in the same season. So rather than concentrating on Kyle, which he did have a great night, we're going to need both of those guys throughout the season.
Obviously, your main focus is the guys who are actually on the field, but Nick was there on the sideline. Did you ever have a moment to see him encouraging guys or, giving them words of wisdom?
Yeah, he was with the guys on the sideline, and I think he was with, KT in between series, kind of talking through things with him. So, I think Nick definitely handled it the right way, throughout the week in meetings, on the practice field, and, certainly during the game. And, he understands. I think he did a good job, and, we'll press forward.
2 really quick. First, saw Tyree Phillips kind of rotate in, some at left tackle, some at right tackle. Was that a rotational thing, or was there another reason for it?
No, we started with our 5, normal starters, and then Coach Johnson, I think I talked like with Coach Getz, he likes to cross-train the guys. So you never know at a certain point of the year, one of the 2s may have to play left tackle, right guard. So I think Coach Johnson does a good job with those guys, rotating them through and kind of teaching them to play a bunch of different positions.
To go back to the completion percentage from earlier for Keaton, what did you see from him in that regard? Was it just being off a few times? Did he make a poor decision with the ball, or kind of where did you see room for improvement for him there?
No, I thought of the incompletions. It was a right church, wrong pew thing. I mean, he was making the right reads. He was throwing the ball to the correct person, and a lot of times they were open. Maybe mechanical, maybe footwork, maybe a little bit of pressure. Probably a combination of all those things. But I don't think you're going to look back in the 31 attempts that there were, many opportunities that he was throwing to the wrong person in the progression. It was just a matter of mechanics and, making sure that he's doing the things to get it to the guy that's open.
Late in the second quarter, we saw Jamal Peters leave the field. Was that due to an injury or what?
Yeah, I think he was cramped up a little bit, and he come back in the second half. Yeah.